Now, the Morning Majority on 630.
8:07 on the Morning Majority, Tuesday morning in Washington. Brian Eamon, Mary Walter in this morning. By the way, Byron York will be here tomorrow. Will be in your seat, filling in for
fine. Well,
fine. Just wanted to let the listeners know that I like to know.
Not even going to let it get cold, are you?
Musical chairs. Byron usually comes in a jacket, so.
Is saying what?
I'm just saying that he has a jacket usually on, so he's usually nice and warm.
Oh, because you do keep it like an icebox in here.
Well, usually. We like it cold.
Not we.
Yes, we.
No, we. There's no we.
The collective
here.
we here at WMAL. We like to keep it cold. Mike Pence will be on the show tomorrow as well, so we'll get his take on the 2012 budget, which will be unveiled today, and we'll see where we are tomorrow when it comes to the government shutdown. Mary Catherine Ham is in on Thursday, and she'll also be here Friday with Major Garrett for the full 4 hours as well, is what I'm hearing. Sources tell me.
I'll bet you put the heat on for them.
Sources tell me. Yeah, that's right.
Sure, they'll get heat.
So the administration did a 180 yesterday on Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
They're going to allow military tribunals for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 4 other guys. Although Eric Holder, the Attorney General, was not happy about it, it sounds like he still thinks that having them in New York would be the way to go for him. Take a listen to what Eric Holder said.
I had full confidence in the ability of the people of New York, the authorities in New York, to try this case safely and securely in New York City. If I didn't have that faith, I would not have made that initial determination. It is still my view that that case could have been tried in Manhattan.
And the reason why it's not is because of Congress.
I know this case in a way that members of Congress do not. I've looked at the files. I've spoken to the prosecutors. I know the tactical concerns that have to go into this decision. So do I know better than them? Yes.
All right, so they changed on Gitmo 180. Did they cave, come to their senses, or is it political? 1-888-630-9625. That's the phone number, 1-888-630-WMAL. Text feedback to 68683. Another question would be, is George W. Bush vindicated now?
Do you think Bush will get any credit whatsoever in you were right? Of course not.
No, not from the administration. Now, Jake Tapper, who we had on just a couple minutes ago, asked Jay Carney about this yesterday in this line of questioning. Take a listen now. This went back and forth with the White House press secretary.
2008, this was a big issue that he brought up on the campaign trail, and it's obviously a failure.
Congressional opposition to some of these decisions created obstacles that made it very hard. That became very hard to overcome.
All right, so they're essentially saying it's Congress's fault. Congress forced us to do this, and we don't have another choice because of Congress.
Does this administration not blame someone else for absolutely everything that happens? Because nothing is ever their fault. They take no responsibility for anything. Well,
in this particular case, I understand where they're coming from when they're saying, "Hey, Congress kind of forced this on us."
Right.
Because Congress essentially said, "Well, the funds for that you may not get." Number one, number two, they passed essentially a law that wouldn't allow for these guys to leave Gitmo to go to the United States.
Yes, but they could be gracious about it, and they could say, no, seriously, and don't laugh at me. They could be... Don't laugh. You automatically discredit me when you laugh at me right out of the box.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that they could be gracious.
Well, okay. But no, seriously, I think that there have been presidents who have come before who would say, you know what, the people of New York don't want this. Their representatives are representative. They made it clear to us and explained to us why they don't want this in New York. We will cede to the people's wishes, and we'll move it back. And they would have won points on it. It wouldn't have looked like a flip-flop. It only took them 507 days to figure this out. But it would have, I think, won points for the administration instead of Eric Holder basically pitching a fit in front of the media and blaming Congress and walking out in a huff.
Well, because, he put it on the line and said, "Hey, I want to do this in New York. I'm going to win this case. I have no problems doing this." And now he's got to walk back and say, "We're handing it over to the DOD and there's going to be military tribunals."
But he could have done it, again, graciously. He could have been a good sport about it, and he could have gotten out of it and I think won points.
All right. No military tribunal, or there will be military tribunals for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed at least, and 4 other guys. The DOD will take this case. No civilian trials in New York City. So when it comes to Gitmo, did the administration cave or did they come to their senses? And is there some indication there for George W. Bush? 1-888-630-9625 is the phone number, 1-888-630-WMAL, and you can text feedback to 68683. Dave in Centerville, you're first up. You're on the Morning Majority. Brian Eamon, Mary Walter. What's up?
Yes, good morning. Why would Bush be vindicated? He set up, he created a mess It didn't have no way to close it. Bush himself wanted to close it. Bush released dozens and dozens of detainees from down there, back to the where they came from. Why would he be vindicated?
Vindicated for Guantanamo Bay, setting up this prison system outside of the United States, a first-class run prison where it is away from the rest of the world, where it is safe, and where you can have military tribunals to try these guys. That's what I'm saying. Was Gitmo essentially a good idea?
No, it wasn't a good idea. Bush himself said he wanted to close it.
He said he wanted to close it, but he also realizes that there's no other option besides having a prison in Guantanamo Bay.
Bush didn't know how to close it. He didn't know how to close it.
Well, you can close it. All you got to do is shutter it and move these guys to another place. You could close it if you wanted to.
Bush will not be vindicated because they waterboarded KSM 80 times.
Good.
Before the start. What?
Good.
Okay.
What?
She said
okay, good. I know your opinion on it, but hey, they waterboarded it, so that would come up in a civil trial.
Yes, so
by avoiding the trial down there, it's protecting Bush because more of that would come out. Now with the military tribunal, that won't come out into the public.
Well, but that's the reason why Eric Holder. Listen, Dave. I'm talking. Dave, pot him down, Mike. Dave, listen. You were talking about waterboarding. That's fine. You could say that you don't like waterboarding. You have your opinion on that. Eric Holder said he could have this case in New York City, have a civilian trial, and not have to worry about that the testimony wouldn't make a difference when it comes to the verdict or not. Now, maybe they've changed their mind about that, or maybe Congress got to them, or whatever. But the reason why they're moving it back to a military tribunal is because probably, number one, that's maybe it is possible that could have been an issue when coming up with a verdict. And number two, it's because the American people said we don't necessarily want this in New York City.
Right.
We don't want it in New York City. Eric in Rockville, you're on the Morning Majority. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Just say I'm all for it. I think taking this cases, whatever, to New York is a waste of time and money for the taxpayers to deal with. The military should take care of it, and that should be the end of it.
Well, do you think they caved in, or do you think they just came to their senses?
Personally, I don't care. I mean, it's the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do to begin with. I don't know why it was ever an issue, other than somebody trying to score high up on the chart there for their career, meaning Eric Holder. So.
The ends justify the means. I think that's all.
I'm glad he's upset about it and showed that he's upset about it. That shows you how it gets to him.
Well, it shows that it's also not it's not his decision. Clearly, this is not his decision, and this came from higher up, and he was told, A, Obama launched his campaign yesterday. B, they don't want this trial going on in New York on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 with Obama running for re-election because they know that that's bad.